Listen, I love the show. The first 3 episodes of season 2 are fantastic. One of the things that I especially love is that every episode has a crazy what the fuck moment, something that like leaves your jaw on the ground. How much do you guys know about what's going to happen before you're getting the scripts, or are you just reading it on the page for the first time?
Season 1, for example, we knew we had 6 episodes in advance. Oh no, 4 in advance. So we really knew, we had a really good lead on what was coming. Season 2 was not quite the same, but we were still a couple of episodes ahead. I think we had a rough idea of what was coming. And at the beginning of each season so far, Eric sat everyone down and gone, "This is what's happening with your character," and yada yada yada. So that was, I don't know for Aya coming in what it was like, but pretty good for us.
Eric sort of broke down the season for me before we started shooting and went over like the big plot points that happen. Some things he was like, "Are you comfortable with this? Here's what we're thinking about this. And we wrote this. This is really, where we want to go with this." But then, we read them sort of chunks at a time as we went later and sort of got specifics. But it's nice to have it broken down for you too, so you know where you're headed, because sometimes, especially like network TV, you're getting scripts like the week of and you are like, wow, I would have maybe done this differently had I known this was happening next, because they're still writing, but they're basically written by the time we get there. I
don't want to get into spoilers, but I'm going to say you have some interesting dialogue from what I've seen in season 2. Yes. What is it like on set delivering this interesting dialogue?
I would say that, as you can imagine, it's super uncomfortable, but it's also, we don't live in a perfect world of, roses and daisies all the time. If we're trying to comment on something, the only way to do that is to give some sort of accurate representation in the heightened world that we're in. So I always felt like it was necessary, and that sort of language exists in this world and in our world as well, and those are things that should be talked about as audience members. I think that starting the conversation about that, as long as it's not glorifying in a way that feels exploitative. And I think we walked the line of being able to say things in a way that felt real and jarring and upsetting and shocking, but also not exploitative.
From what I've seen, I completely think you guys have done it very well. Antony, I love your performance as Homelander. I think, if you look online, I think it's a universal thing. Everyone just loves your work on it. I'm curious, what is it like flipping the switch and becoming the megalomaniac? And is it something that like you can just turn on, or are you sort of revving the engine before you stand on set?
Yeah. I'm just be myself. I do want to take over the world and kill people. No, it's funny. I don't want to sound like a psycho, but I enjoy it. It's just fun because it's the kind of character that you never get. You get to do things on set, not literally do them, but you get to say things and do things. You're just talking about the dialogue that. The interesting dialogue that Aya had to deliver. And, I kind of relish that, the dark side. I love it. I love the opportunity to say and do these things that I would never say and do in real life. And nobody would unless you're crazy. So in terms of becoming that, for me, it's a relatively simple thing. You know what's required in the scene and throw yourself into it, and we're lucky. We've got a boss that wants options, so we give lots of different options on each take, and then they select and they edit and take the bits they want and the bits they don't. So it's a very collaborative show and a very collaborative process. So we're just a piece of that jigsaw.
In season 2, there was an extra 3 days of production on every episode. And I'm not sure if you knew that you had extra time with season 2. Can you talk about how that played into making the season better, if you will, or what that added to the show, having that extra time.
I got to be honest. It's a beast of a show. It is. The production's expanded and took over another couple of studios last year and in season 2. So that time was spent, as shows develop, the ideas, the characters get deeper, and the ideas around character and story get deeper. But the show did expand as well, and some of the set pieces got a bit bigger. We had a rather large whale built, and things like that. So the sequences that we have. I mean, Cash has some pretty incredible sequences coming up later in the season that I'm not going to spoil, but they're very time consuming and very difficult, and she can speak more on those. But yeah, I mean, whatever, film is greedy, and it will chew up all the time you've got.
Yeah,
I was going to say I definitely want to hear about these things.
Oh, I was just going to say, I came really off a show that we finished. We do an episode in 4.5 days. So it's a very different kind of show to be on The Boys, where we do that. Not only are there such long shoot schedules just in terms of the days per episode, but then there's second unit going that will go on later to catch up, because even with the extra time, it's almost impossible to get everything that needs to get done because it's such a big show. I mean, when I watched The Boys season 1, I was like, it's like a movie. I mean, it's so cinematic, and there's huge camera moves and set pieces and massive amounts of extras. I mean, it's a superhero show, so it's what's needed. So it's a very different way of working. So I would even work, I mean, there's like almost all of episode 6, I think we shot way after we finished this, after we finished the season, because everything had to get pushed until like a certain set piece was built or a certain thing was done. And it's just a totally different way of working. You've got to get your mind around those things that you have to come back to an episode. So you're going to have to keep all the episodes in your head in a different way and figure out, okay, wait, I'm shooting this from episodes, 1 when we're on episode 8 right now. And where am I and how am I, what's my dynamic with this character that's changed over the season. So it's challenging, but also really fun and exciting. And also the stunt choreography and that kind of stuff takes a while to learn. You can't just say like, hey, we're going to do like a 5-page fight scene tomorrow. I did have to learn another language in a week, but other than that, I got a lot of time.
I already have to stop. I'm just going to say that I am really looking forward to seeing the dynamic between your two characters as season 2 plays out.
Thank you so much. It's a roller coaster, so I hope you enjoy it.
Cannot wait. You guys have a great day.
Cheers. You too, brother.